What's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a little Tarot After Dark message for you. Now, technically, it is still August 16th, which is the new moon in Leo. And as I said in my last video, Leo was all about the fifth house of pleasure and expressing your sensibility, sensuality, and even sexuality, and definitely being unapologetic about your creative expression overall. And I just felt guided to do something a little bit different, to kind of literally set the mood. The mood is mooding over here, even if it's not picking up on camera. But it definitely is for me on this side. So I hope it's as good for you as it is for me in this moment. But at the bottom of the deck, we have the Ten of Cups. And when I stopped shuffling here, I immediately heard Love Galore. Now, I did not hear the song by SZA, but that is a title of one of her songs, which kind of came through to me later. Love, 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 long as we got love, 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 long as we got. Now, Ten of Cups is all about the fulfillment of sensuality, spirituality, emotionality. It's just a happily ever after type of card, with the Ten of Cups here. If you haven't guessed by now, this is obviously a love reading. With Venus in retrograde in Leo, we're still trailing in at the tail end of Leo season, and the new moon in Leo. This is just the vibe that I'm feeling right now. So hopefully the cards are in alignment with my vibe, which most likely they will be. But in any event, what I'm going to do, also in the spirit of this new moon energy, is just try to really channel more of a love and passion vibration in the message. So the energies that I typically read the cards in are not the vibration that I'm going to receive and perceive them in now. So this Ten of Cups to start is just, you and or someone idolizing a happily ever after, wish fulfillment type of situation with you. Literally in the most pure form, the house, the kids, the nuclear family of sorts, maybe not in the most conventional traditional sense, but happily ever after, and family and union and partnership and progeny and legacy and dynasty, living in a little house on the hill, maybe a white picket fence of sorts. These all being images of, the ideal prospects of love, but translated and transferred into what your ideal of love would be. That's what the Ten of Cups is about. It's all about that fantastical vision of life that you have for yourself, and not just you being, in a singular position or a single position of satisfaction, but it being something that you are able to share, even if it's amongst friends. It's still being such a blissful experience to share. I mean, most people that are in bliss and in happiness usually want someone to share it with, and this card is an indication that you get that. You get to have the house, the car, the kids, the dog, the bank account, the creativity, the prosperity, the businesses, the investments, the peace, the love. Most importantly, the love is what overflows in a Ten of Cups situation. So let's just see what more Spirit has to say on this evening, almost morning. Oh. Okay, Spirit, we ain't doing it like that now. Hold on. Hold on. Somebody just overflowing with love. Or I am about to explode. I don't know where this reading is going to go, so I guess I should say this is 18 plus, just in case. All right, so this is the Five of Swords. Like somebody is willing to beat out all the competition to have you, to have you in their arms. You know, they're strategizing on a way to pretty much present themselves as like the top choice, you know. And here we have the Nine of Wands, which is someone looking back and just thinking about all the opportunities they had to, you know what, really thinking back on either, it could be a couple things, because I told you, brace yourself, it's a different vibration. It's either looking back on all the moments that were intimately experienced together. Let me pull this up because I'm not sure, or I'll get closer to the light. All the moments that were experienced, these are like moments of passion that he's looking back in the past to and contemplating how to recreate that in the future, what can be done to get back to that experience of passion. He's, you know, it's a little bit of anxiety here because, you know, the fantasies of the past are a bit overwhelming. He's actually like going to, remember I said like somebody's about to explode. You know, he's sitting here, he's thinking so hard and, you know, fantasizing so much about the experiences that you've shared, that, you know, he can't even really focus on what's in front of him, let alone what's ahead of him. You know, all that's being replayed over and over is just like the most fantastical memories of experience shared between you. And it could be, you know, something as simple as, you know, just fun, and things that memories that you created together, but it could be as sensual as actual intimate moments of passion. Like every single time you had an intimate encounter is now replaying on his mind over and over again, so much so that he can't even get through the day, and, you know, in the most practical sense, without at some point in time being lost in this fantasy world of his own. And that's what's more or less fueling this ambition to just knock out any possible competition that could be in the way between himself and recreating or reclaiming this ecstasy that was experienced here. That's what I hear, like these moments of ecstasy, energetic ecstasy that were experienced. It's like he'd be damned if anybody else have the experiences that he knows, you know, are sublime. I don't even know if that's the word, but that's what I hear, like sensationally, sensually sublime. And he feels that he's the man, you know, he feels that he is the top choice, and he may not have necessarily, you know, done all that he could have done to secure that position, you know, when it was most tangibly at his fingertips. But, you know, with this Five of Swords energy here, like his mind and his vision is focused on proving himself to be worthy and capable of now, with another opportunity, not only recreating that passion, but forwarding that experience one to another in a fresh new way. You know, it's like that's all his mind is thoughtful of. Like when I get her, I'm saying her because these are guys, but you can flip the energies however you will. If you're a guy listening, it's a female thinking about you having you back. But I'm gonna speak as from the perspective of the cards. When I get her back, I ain't never letting her go. She see how he's gripping that wand literally. It's like when I get her in my arms again, she can forget about anybody else, anything else. Like it's about me and her from this point on. From that point on, nobody's getting in the way, getting in between me and this love. He's willing to do some things, but you know, I feel it's like he's willing to take out the competition, but given the vibration that I'm reading this on, you know, it could be lower vibration, but we're not in that right now. As you can see, like I've read the Five of Swords many different ways before, but today in this love and passion vibration, this is just about really wanting to being very ambitious, like extremely ambitious about being the choice, the object of desire, and ultimately claiming the object of his desires. Yeah, because he don't want to be left out in the cold. He been there, done that, got the t-shirt, don't want to go back. It feels cold. Let me lift this up into the light a little bit. It feels cold and dark without this connection. You know, there's so much joy to be desired without this connection, and without, you know, it's like literally cold outside. Like I'm hearing, ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Ain't no warmth when she goes away. I don't even know if that's the words, but that's what it is right now. And he has so much emotion. Like the moon card is all about deep, dark emotions. Like not necessarily dark in a diabolical sense in the vibration we're reading on now, but dark in the sense that these are expressions that maybe perhaps he never even really shared, like the depths of how he truly feels, like the fact that he feels alone without the warmth of her love in his life, without or maybe, you know, even if there is connection, that there's some type of like deep, dare I say, obsession in a sense, but in a pure form, if there can be such a thing, that even when there's separation, he's contemplating on the next time that you'll be together. You know, he's thinking, you may be taking it very lightly, like, oh, you know, he's just doing his thing, or letting me do my thing, or, you know, there's a moment where you guys aren't together. But in this vibration, it's like even those simple moments of separation are like an eternity for him. And he just yearns for your connection, your warmth, your love, your vitality, your passion, like just your presence overall turns the lights on. You know, even in the dark, there's still the moonlight. But the moon is definitely a reflection of deep-seated emotions, like perhaps emotions that either are a bit of a shock and a bit mystical to him, you know, that he could feel so deeply, but also that are for sure a mystery to you. You have no idea the depths of his emotions for you, how loving he is towards you, how, you know, how much he desires you, not just in an intimate sense, but in a very practical and emotional sense, like how his world is starting to just kind of, you know, kind of merge with yours idealistically. If you're not together, that's the fantasy, you know, this merging of sorts. And until that happens, everything else feels cold and desolate and dark, and you know, he feels detached from life in any sensational or practical way, in any emotional way, as a matter of fact, with this absence, you know, um, prevailing. So there's a deep emotional attachment here. And as I said, we're reading it in a high vibration. So it's someone that just really adores you. And, you know, to their own surprise, they can't even believe how much they are, they're just enamored by your energy. It's unbelievable to them how how much of a sustaining source just your love vibration has become to them. And not only that, how much they desire it to be. So there's one thing for that to be the case and there be a resistance to it, like, you know, I don't really want this to be, you know, to be the thing. Or maybe perhaps that's what it was with um that Nine of Wands card, and that's the regret that once upon a time there was a resistance to the power and pull and draw of this energetic force, you know, that he didn't want to feel this deep. He didn't want to dig this deep into it. He didn't know he could feel this deep, so he definitely, and is this the emperor that I say? Yes, I knew it. He didn't want to feel. The emperor is very stern, can be very emotionally attached in the grand scheme of things, because he's all about business. He's, you know, focused on the the point of conquering at hand. You know, he has to, in a sense, be a bit of a stoic character, because he has a great responsibility on his hands to manage perhaps multiple kingdoms. When you're in the emperor status, you may oversee more than just one. Definitely has some prominence or power of position in his life that will require, you know, a bit of a poker facer at times, or just someone that's going to be very objective, you know, not much less emotional than more objective. And so this was a bit of a conflict of the interest of his position, you know, of power, to be so deeply in love and enamored by anything, especially anyone outside of himself. So that was the resistance, you know, because he even at, you know, the nine of wands, it's just it's like looking back at wishing, all, as I said, wishing that you had done something differently with the opportunities that you had, and then looking back at those opportunities and you know, reflecting on the fulfillment and excitement and really passion with wand energy that you felt from those moments, and just wishing that you would have embraced them more wholeheartedly. That's the vibration now with this emperor card, that, you know, this deep feeling, deep sensuality, sensation, you know, desire is now overpowering the strong emperor, to a point where it just can't be ignored anymore. There has to be, and because he's the emperor, he's used to being able to more or less conquer anything he sets his focus on, which is also connected to that Nine of Wands energy, and the five of swords, more or less, where he's willing to win at all costs. Like, he'll do anything to make sure that he secures that territory of your heart again, you know, and this time knowing what to do with it, like being in the most prominent, powerful position of authority that one can maintain ultimately, to really feeling like he's now prepared to love and be loved and handle love more wisely now, more efficiently, more effectively, more energetically than before, having even more enthusiasm for the emotions that he's feeling instead of being resistant to it, because he realizes that just left him out in the cold, and there's way too much to be desired at the stage of being left out in the cold than to perhaps perhaps surrender just a little bit to that sensation of sensuality. And we're not talking about lust here per se. We're talking about intimacy. And maybe that intimacy has a little lust mixed in with it. And as I said that, who comes out? Yes, it does, because this Knight of Wands, oh, he's here for it. He's here for the good time. If there's anybody that's coming to the party to with all the favors, all the bells and whistles, and with his eyes set on the Queen of Wands of all, the most attractive queen in the deck, literally, not just in the material and prosperous sense, but she's the queen of beauty and sensuality, and she's fiery, she's vibrant. When she walks into the room, you know it. You know her presence, and it doesn't even necessarily mean that she has to be a beauty queen per se, but there's something about her energy and her vibration that is just an attractive force. It's like moth to a flame type of energy, literally, literally right here. This is amazing. And it's something like the Knight of Wands can't resist. There's no way in hell. Like the Knight of Wands in a room with the Queen of Wands, even if he feels a little bit out of his league with the difference in stature, which we have already established that we're talking about an emperor here. So this is the lower nature, that carnal nature of that emperor, in his most fiery form, because if we consider the emperor, he has all of the kings wrapped up into one. So you need not fear that he's going to be a little bit too lustful or too sensual for your liking, especially not for the Queen of Wands. She's here for it. She's 100%. Not only is she here for it, but she can match the vibes 100%, So, I mean, this is pretty much self-explanatory that this knight is riding in fiercely. He's got his eye on the prize, wand in hand. She's got her wand in hand, flower in hand, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink. Goddamn, she almost got her legs open here. Probably the only queen that really sits like that I've noticed. She's literally looking in his direction. So this is like, but what I love about this is that she's on the throne. She's not chasing, because the Queen of Wands, she can definitely be one to set her eyes on something, that fiery essence, that fiery element that's definitely willing to go get it and conquer in any form, masculine or feminine. But in this position, it's very clear that she's seated on her throne in a receiving position, as fierce feminine ought to be, and allowing the masculine energy to meet her where she is, which is ultimately what he wants to do. He loves to chase. He loves to conquer. He loves to feel like, he worked for his reward. He put in time and effort and energy for the I don't even know what you call it, like I don't know, I'm lost for words, to be honest, because I feel the vibration. It's like intense passion coming towards this object of affection, and it's well matched in this sense, in this vibration that we're reading in. Like, especially given it's the emperor, this is an emperor that knows how to get down to business. Like, he's going to definitely, he has the mind to please. That's what I hear. He's one that's going to make sure that you get yours well before, if not multiple times before, he gets his. That's the vibration that he's in with this Knight of Wands energy here. And because and it's not, steeped in ego, or even less for that matter. Remember, this is like a fuel of love and passion. Like, this is like pure desire here, where him idealizing this woman as the most attractive thing, woman that he's ever seen. Not to call the Queen of Wands a thing, but you know what I mean. Like, he's so attracted to her. Like, everything she does with the Queen of Wands, that's the type of energy she is. Like, she could just be, cooking dinner or washing dishes, and he's just looking at her like, as soon as she get done. That's the type to just sneak up on you and act like they just trying to help, or they just trying to chit chat, but they just really want to be close to you ultimately. It's like moth to a flame, literally. He just, in everything, in every space that you're occupying, he somehow wants to be breathing that air, or, sharing that environment, just vibing off of whatever energy you're expelling. Like, that's the magnetism between yourself and this energy that is either coming towards you, fantasizing about coming towards you, or already in your energy. Like, these are the passions that exist, perhaps even beyond what's even expressed, or beneath the surface, I should say, of what's expressed. Yeah. So that's the Knight of Wands. He's riding in Fast and Furious, and this is also a projection of this determination as well. That's the energy he's riding in on. Like, he's fueled by his passion, so it's like nothing. He might be cerebral about it, very strategic, thoughtful, making a logical plan about how exactly he's going to make you his. Now, if you're already together, it's about securing that vibration between you two, that synergy. But if he's after you, then he's already thinking and strategizing about how exactly he's going to, bring you two together and seal the deal one way or another. Because the Queen of Wands is irresistible. It ain't really too much beating the Queen of Wands in the Queen category, honestly, except for the Empress, who's more or less like the Emperor, a compilation of all of them. And she absolutely has the Queen of Wands in her vibe. So outside of that, like, this is just, the cream of the crop. And he knows it, he recognizes it, he sees it, he recognizes it, he respects it, and he desires it, wholeheartedly. All right, let's see what else we got. I'm feeling the vibe. All right, it's a couple, let's see. Okay, yeah, he's moving away from these moments of heartbreak, and every moment that he's not up under your skin is heartbreaking, so again, if this is in terms of a separation of energies, yeah, we got the Hangman here under the deck. And look, I thought I saw that the Ace of Cups here, if you can see that. I know it's pretty dark right now, but if you can see that, for every moment that there's been separation, it's like it's been hard to overcome, and he doesn't want to go back to that. especially if he's gotten away from it, if you guys have connected on some level, or you're already in union or in some type of connection. There's no way, he's so ambitious about staying in alignment, and in co-creation with you, that heartbeat, yeah, you make his heartbeat, and heartbreak is a thing of the past. He's what the determination of defeat is over these circumstances and situations of the past that perhaps may have caused a separation or disappointment between the two of you, that may have been a dissension at all in the desires of both of your hearts. Primarily, that would have caused a dissension in yours to disconnect from him, if that be the case. But in the presence of union, it's just that he's, the Knight of Wands moves fiercely in a direction and away from this energy here. We've already established that his eyes are set on you. You are the object and his focus, and anything that would obstruct that possibility, or get in the way of the purest connection. And this is like the adverse of passion to be in heartbreak, and he's trying to eliminate any possibility of that whatsoever. So whatever it is that he needs to do in a warrior stance as the Emperor, in the Five of Swords, willing to win at all costs, he's literally willing to lay his life on the line to make sure that there's never a heartbreak moment that he has caused intentionally. Of course, in relationships, things happen, but it's his passion, per se, to make sure that he brings you joy, that he's doing things that are going to continue to make you happy and bring you love. And not only that, but I'm hearing actually to carry you away from heartbreak, to really, the Knight of Wands is like a distant traveler in a sense, like either coming from a foreign land or traveling to foreign lands. And it's like he wants to take you far, far away from anything that's ever broken your heart, including anything he's ever done or any past experience with the heart. The Three of Swords card is also past experiences that you've ever had. He wants to be the furthest thing away from any resemblance of disappointing experiences in your life that have made you cry, made you sad, made you feel less than loved, less than worthy, less than desirable. He only wants to lead you into those things that are going to be the opposite of that. Yeah, and with this here, the Six of Pentacles, this is like balanced give and take, even a gift of sorts. It can be given a gift. It can be balanced, equal give and take, balancing the scales, bringing justice to a circumstance or situation, literally being in a position to be a benefactor or to be, someone that gives generously to others because they have more than enough to do so. This is someone that I'm picking up has either done some great healing or some soul searching, and now was in, maybe even from past experiences, past disappointments, whether self-imposed or otherwise, or externally experienced. He's learned enough, this is a wise man, like a diplomat in the community. He's learned enough now to know that his position of passion makes an impact, that it's not something to be taken lightly. It's important that he stays within balance within himself, and that he really honors the impact that his force can make on others, whether it be in his own personal life, but specifically to you, knowing that what he has to offer can ultimately change your life, and he's happy to do it. Like, this is someone that, in the Christian community, I think it's actually a scripture. Yeah, it is. Of course, it is. That says God loves a cheerful giver. He doesn't give and share with resistance or with obligation or feeling like, you're twisting his arm. Like, he's happy to give of all that he has, to share his wealth in the material sense, but it's more so energy in the essence that we've been vibing on now. Like, he wants to share his time. He wants to share his life experiences. He wants to create just as much balance in your life as he's created in his own. Like, he wants to reassure that, not to say that there's a codependency here, which can be implied in the lowest vibration of this card, but it really is just a matter of keeping all things balanced, that he's recognizing the ways, and it could be vice versa, actually, both of you recognizing the ways in which you add to each other, where he knows he brings something to the table that maybe perhaps you don't, and that you bring something to the table that he's been missing. Obviously, there's that synergy there, or he wouldn't be so obsessed with your energy and the vibration that he is. There's something lacking, obviously, in the Five of Pentacles in his life without you. And I would go on a limb to say vice versa. For the lack, I would say, for you in the feminine aspect, or in the partnered aspect of what I'm expressing, is that the lack for you is just sheerly having someone that's this willing and intentional and determined to be so what's the right word, so careful with your heart. That's a simple way to put it. It's not even what I'm looking for, but it makes sense. Like, the care that he wants to take for your heart, to literally remove every sword you ever had. If he could, if he can, he will. But then to balance the scale so that you don't feel like you're missing anything. You don't feel like you're wanting for anything in an energetic sense, in an emotional sense, obviously in a material sense. So this is a sense of someone who takes pride in being a provider, being secure and stable in what he has to offer. And that in itself is sexy, for you, perhaps, that alone is sensational, that you would be the object of someone's desires, that wants to take care of you, spirit, mind, and body, holistically, in spirit and in truth, that just wants to add value to your life. That's what it really is. I love that. That's intentional about adding value. So we're not just talking about somebody that's just trying to come in, sweep you off your feet, bring the D and take the key, the key to the key to your heart, that is. We talking about somebody that wants to be here for the long run. Like, they see future, they have vision for, they don't want to, and as a matter of fact, they don't want to see a future. They don't want to imagine a future where you're not in it at this point. They are only fantasizing about life and union with you. And look at that, the Four of Wands. That's exactly what that is. That's a coming together, that's a union, which does, as a matter of fact, imply that it's been after some great hardship or challenge, maybe one to another or individually, maybe collectively, that there's been some overcoming of sorts to get to the Four of Wands together, where you're in a prosperous, successful union. This is a house, a home, no less. This is prosperity. This is two people on one accord that are in celebration with one another and celebrate each other as well. You know, that's a beautiful union right there. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, and it's the Chariot moving forward. That's what he wants to do. He wants a life that's always forward moving. That's always, you know, that no matter what obstacles or challenges or charges you face, that you meet it with courage and you meet it together. See these two entities here, the dark and the light? This is the complement of, you know, your two energies here, you know, where you may actually even be very different from each other, whether it be in race or in idealism or your just your ways of going and being about life, you know, may be very different. Your come from may be different. Aside from the fact that you may be a man and a woman, you know, of course, that's the most obvious difference, but you may literally come from two different backgrounds or, you know, two different parts of town or had two different upbringings, you know, but there's something about you both that's a great compliment to each other. And again, as I said, it's that luxury of love that feels like a commodity now, like it feels a necessity is what I really mean to say. Like it's not something that can be done without or lived without. And with this Four of Wands here, this is definitely the expression of the victory, but this is like the continuation of it, the continual and continuous intention of just overcoming any obstacle that life has to throw your way. That no matter what it is, you're always going to be ready, standing back to back, you know, protecting one another, looking where one is looking, where one can't see, the other one can. You know, they're looking in two different directions as if all territory is covered by way of protection, and that's an intentionality about protecting one another and protecting this love, you know, and it also signifies that intention and that union is exalted in a sense, because the Chariot card can also be like an official, you know, an official person, like, you know, someone even in a high authority, you know, like a general of sorts. And this love collectively sits on that type of platform, that because of the purity of it, the pure passion at its root, it's like it's like exemplary of the type of energy you would want to exchange one to another. Not that it's the standard or the blueprint for anybody to follow, pound for pound, you know, page for page, but it creates such an inspiring vibration that it makes other people want to have that for themselves, want to find their version or attract their version of that in real time. You know, that's the exaltation of this union, this commitment that, you know, that is bound in this divine devotion ultimately. Like it's universally respected and renowned just simply for the pure intentions of it, you know, that there's a balanced synergy between both parties to just love, honor, cherish, and dare I say, obey one another, you know, for the purposes of protecting the legacy that's being created. That's also what the Chariot card is. He's a protector, he's a warrior. And this love is protected, and what I'm getting also is from a higher force, you know, and look at that Judgment card, from a higher force. I was just trying to pick up the deck, but it's already been written for this love to unite the way that it has. It's a lot, and perhaps, you know, judgment can also be like second chances, which I guess if this is the masculine listening, you in fact are in line for a second chance with the judgment card. If you do well with it now, if you squander it again, then the judgment, that's the final judgment, and that's your ass. Because I don't think it's going to be no third chances on this one. You know, this love is so sacred and so sound that, you know, there's a revelation here of some obstacles and some obstructions and interferences that have kept it from being, I would say, you know, manifested to its fullest potential. But it's like, for whatever reason, the energy has changed, the vibration has changed. It was always meant to be, in a sense, but now what maybe perhaps seemed to have been laid to rest, as I said in the beginning, him looking back at, you know, when he could have appreciated the time and the energy that he had a little bit differently. There was some action, some, you know, intention, some determination that was pleasing to the divine to allow. And I want to say it was more from a personal perspective. I think I even said that there was some healing or some self-realization that had happened, even with the feminine aspect. If you are the feminine listening, maybe you both were working on yourselves. You both were waiting on some breakthroughs in your life, you know, being transformed in a spiritual sense to just be able to really heal from those heartbreaks of the past, those past experiences that may have been unfavorable in some way, and to allow the universe to almost regenerate or rebirth you, maybe perhaps even resurrect you from some spiritual deaths, some dark nights of the soul. You know, that vibration of self-discovery that one must travel to fully become self-aware and to more or less transcend into their more spiritual nature holistically, in connection to your earthly form, you know, not disconnected at all, but for there to be a wholeness and an alignment between the two. And there's been a completion to that, as so it seems, you know, that's happened here if the judgment's been called. And maybe it's unbeknownst to either one of you, in a sense, for it to have been hidden the way that it was, or maybe the judgment has yet to be revealed in the justice of this situation, where he's looking to reconcile, you're sitting on the throne, you know, just living life as you feel called to do. And the judgment has already commenced for this union to move forward with the Chariot card, because it's protected, because the proper steps have been taken to really, you know, magnetize and magnify self in the way that's necessary for this love to be pure and healthy, you know, for it to be something that can be sustainable. Because it's clear it's attainable, but it's one thing to attain love. It's one thing to be able to actually sustain it and nourish it and grow it, to magnify it, and allow it to, you know, kind of transmute it into being that energy that would inspire in the most positive and productive and prosperous way. I think the cards were a little bit crooked based on how these candles are aligned, so I'm just fixing them up. All right, let's see what else we got. Yeah, this is that transformation. This is what I was saying, that there was a walking away of past investments, perhaps on both sides, but speaking from the masculine perspective, which is so prominent in this reading, my God, it's like the Eight of Cups is him turning away from old ideals of fulfillment. It could be family, it could be friends, it could just be his energetic perception of life and the satisfaction of life. It could be the ways in which he invested in being satisfied, like there could be so many different things, especially when we're talking about the masculine energy, how they practicalize passion, in the most primitive ways often, but they can also pour a lot of energy into that passion. And when you have the 8 out of the 10 cups, which is what we started with, mind you, that says that there was a lot of investment made in this past place or space that the masculine occupied. And he was so faithful. 8 of Cups is hard to walk away from, because that says there was a lot of comfort here. There was a lot of perhaps even complacency, maybe even curiosity. Maybe there was some satisfaction, even if it wasn't sustainable, or really substantive. He was drinking something here with these 8 of Cups, even if it didn't necessarily taste good. Some people stay in the 8 of Cups forever because they have a fear of the unknown. And when you consider the unknown quite possibly could have been a transformation, that's a very fearful place to walk away from, that to not know, to really walk away from everything that you know yourself to be, everyone that you know of, every place that is familiar, everything that you've been accustomed to doing, and then to find a completely new way to be and do and have and, experience life. That's what this Death card is representing, like a total transformation of self. That can only happen when you're willing to take the step to walk away from something that is not really fulfilling you, even if it's partially satisfying and somewhat sensationally comfortable in a sense, but that it's not all there is to life. It's not the whole 10. It's not the whole shebang. It's just a portion, a fraction of what you deserve. Even in that regard, and with that observation and realization, it takes a strong person to walk away from it all, not knowing what's ahead truly, not even knowing how they're going to get there or if they're going to make it through with the Death card, but knowing that it's worth the chance, having the faith to say that they're going to walk away anyway and believe in themselves first and foremost to get to some other side, and believe in the divine to reveal itself, in their determination. That's powerful. Like, that's a powerful man right there. Salute to you, sir, indeed, for being willing to just be brand new, to risk it all, to have it all, is what I hear. And you see why this passion is not, like, this is a man that's serious, like a man that was willing to die for love, literally die to himself, to everything that he's ever known himself to be, for the sake of becoming what he knows he should and could be, for love and for the love of his life. Not just for love, the novelty of love, but for love that he has, perceived to be worth it. That's powerful. That's some real love. That's that Queen of Wands energy. She'll do it to you every time. And look who that is, the Empress. Oh, I'm not gonna take you, but I'm happy that you made your appearance. Yep, that's the vibration that she's in. That's confirmation right there if she don't come back out, because he recognizes you, ma'am, madam. He recognizes you as the whole package, the full, worth it. Every bit of you is worth the time, the effort, the sacrifice, the surrender is worth it to him. He's identified you as the mother of his children, the partner of his legacy. the, you know, his friend, you know, his lover, his confidant, someone that he can trust. The Empress is all those things. Someone that's going to be honest, that is passionate, that is, you know, intuitive, that's productive, that's prosperous. Like, he ultimately, when the Empress card comes out as the object of affection, it's you literally being the total package in that person's eyes. There's nothing to be desired about you. He loves everything about you, even your flaws. He can't find anything wrong, even with the worst of you. And that's what he desires to have in his life. He'd rather even have your flaws than to not have you at all. That's so beautiful. Isn't that a love that we all deserve? Hats off to you, madam, because you must. Oh, and she came out again. My goodness. Hats off to you, madam, for maintaining that vibration in your own right, because that has to be an internal projection first and foremost before anybody can truly identify you as such. Oh, and the Queen of Wands came out just in case you forgot how dope she is, how beautiful she is, how sexy. Queen of Wands is definitely sexy. That's why I should say sexy before I even say beautiful, because that's that attractive vibration in her, that fiery nature. Even if she's tantalizing, she's a temptation to most. And he tried to resist. Like I said, he tried to resist that cup of love. And it's just no resisting the Queen of Wands. You can try, but you will fail every time. And by God, you better hope she's in the high vibration, because in the low vibration, you really in trouble. But this is just that energy where he was just in, this is past vibration. Like, he was resistant to that Ace of Cups, that fulfillment, because I get the sense that, as I actually kind of already said, but with the actual Four of Cups coming out, which is implying resisting the Ace of Cups, which also did peek out earlier, it was just that he was afraid to be overtaken by this love, by these emotions, by the spirit of her. Like, as an emperor, he's supposed to be, you know, the head man in charge. How is he going to be overpowered by this feminine force so easily and effortlessly? It's like it was a bit of a fear that if she could do that, if she could have that effect, if it's you, if she could have that effect on him in that way, almost effortlessly, because the Queen of Wands, you know, she's pretty effortless in a sense. Like, she definitely wields a power and hold, especially the Empress. The Empress is definitely effortless because she's a master of all of her characteristics. But she wields a power, but it's more, you know, it's just the force that is within her. It's not really an intentional projection, you know, of passion. It's just how she walks, how she moves, how she talks, how she loves. You know, she loves life, and that is attractive in a woman. When you find a woman that can find the beauty and the passion in anything. Like I said, in washing the dishes, she's singing a song and doing a little dance. You know, somebody that's willing to love life in every aspect of that experience is attractive to the masculine energy, because they're, as the emperor is, very stoic, very singularly focused a lot of times, you know, very proactively focused, you know, focused on an outcome, a project, a projection. You know, it's the feminine energy adds a different essence to the masculine experience, because she's more reproductive in her experience. Like she's going to take whatever she's seeing and make something beautiful out of it, make it something different. She makes it whole and complete just by her being. Like that's the nature of a woman, to just kind of bring grace to life. And he recognized that cup for what it is, but he didn't feel that he was in a position to be able to sustain that overflow of love and still maintain his position of power and authority over his own life. You know, he felt like he could be completely overtaken, overpowered, distracted, disconnected from practical life because of this indulgence of love, because he felt like if she could do this effortlessly, then what could happen if there was actually an intention behind this connection, meaning we were both engaged and surrendered to it. How I might lose myself, you know, I might drown in this sea of love. And there was some resistance to that, even either in the space of time, meaning they didn't feel like it was time for that energy to persist, or he didn't really know if he ever would be ready to fully receive it, or more importantly, what I hear is if he could measure up to it and return it properly, you know, fully. You know, really reciprocate is what I hear, that frequency of passion in the way that he was perceiving it and actually truly feeling it, you know. So there was this fear like, well, if maybe perhaps I just distance myself from it altogether, then I won't have to be responsible for reciprocation, you know, and then I won't have to also ultimately be responsible for destroying it. I heard deprecation, but I don't even know if that's a word. He didn't want to be responsible for pretty much fumbling the bag. So he felt like it might be better to have none at all than to have some and perhaps like spill the milk, you know what I mean, or spill the wine, you know. So that was the reason for the disconnection and the resistance in the past. But as I said, there's no resisting the Queen of Wands. When she makes her presence known, even if you mentally try, you know, or I should say physically try to create a wedge or a block, eventually you will succumb to, yep. You will succumb to your senses, just as I said. Oh, wow, look at this, up there. The High Priestess. And I'm gonna wrap it up here because it ain't really no more to say. When the Ace of Wands come out, this is the phallic, mind you. This is like his wand in his hand, and his wand, if you know what I mean, is exactly what it looks like. It's like, he can't stop thinking about you. He can't stop fantasizing. Like when he's with you, he's at attention. When he thinks about you, he's at attention. When y'all just chilling, watching TV, he's at attention. And it's almost, you know, and that was also the resistance, because it's like wanting to be taken seriously. Oh, I see. Because he looks at you as like a holy entity, a holy being, you know. It's like, that's what it was. There had to be a purification of the passion for him. Although it was definitely showing up as love vibes, there was this part of him where, you know, his anatomy was speaking so profoundly, you know, even in his resistance and rejection of love, that he almost felt like there was an imbalance. Like, well, maybe this is just lust. Maybe that was the resistance. Thank you, Spirit. Now I understand. It was, he felt imbalanced because he felt the love, but he was also unsure as to whether or not it was just his normal rigmarole of lust, even though he knew it wasn't, because this is the Ace of Wands. This is even bigger than the Knight of Wands, you know. And this makes more sense here too, that he didn't want to be the cause of any more heartbreak. Maybe he's a heartbreaker, you know, or was, you know, in the Knight of Wands energy, or he was used to loving them and leaving them, or just not taking love too seriously, because in the position that he's in, number one, he either hasn't found many valuable suitors, you know, many high vibrational suitors, high valued suitors to take seriously, so it was much more casual, or he wasn't really in a position where he wanted to allow himself to be anything that was committed or extremely serious and long term, because he just was, that just wasn't where his focus was. And then he came across you and your Queen of Wands energy and your Empress vibration, and he sees you as this like precious, you know, pure energy of the divine. Like he feels like you're heaven sent. That's what I hear. Like you're such a pure and precious gift that he dare not defile you with his lustful wand, and perhaps like just completely transform you energetically from what you were designed to be. You know, it was like there had to be, or he felt at least, that there needed to be a purification of his intentions, his passions. And when I say purification, I do hear that it was like trial by fire, like he had to be purified by the divine, but it was incited by a very intentional objective. And this is why that Judgment card came into play. It was like with all the passion and desire and straight up lust at times that he had for you, there was a like not a resistance, but like when you not abstain is not what I'm trying to say, but that too. But there was just like this like he retained his vibration. It's not what I'm trying to say, but he just really like he kept himself contained, you know, even in the wildest ways he may have wanted to really. And I feel like that's what that Eight of Wands was, is that there's always been this passion and this continuous fantasy about what life would be like if he were to be completely engulfed in this exchange of passion with you on every level. But because there was an uncertainty about, you know, the security of what he really had to offer and bring to the table, beyond just the wand, beyond just the magic of passion, but the security as well, but the love, you know, a stable, loving energy that's perhaps, you know, if not wholly healed, definitely understanding of his own past heartbreaks and love experiences enough to be able to surpass them and be, you know, a reciprocal vibration of love to you in the way that you deserve. Because somebody looking at you like a gift from God, ultimately like a gift from the divine that is divine, doesn't want to just bring a wand to that table. He wants to bring the whole shebang. Now in this sense, to me, this is exalted, you know, especially coming to the end of the reading, because it says that there's been a great exaltation. This went from straight the Knight of Wands, surpassed the King of Wands, to the most divine wand in the deck. This is from the divine. This is passion that comes from God itself, comes from, you know, an ethereal space. Is saying to me that it always was divine, and that because of the way that he abstained his desires, you know, he restrained himself from impulsively acting purely out of lust. Like he could have satisfied his loins a long time ago, and you probably and the Queen of Wands would have been happy to oblige, because the Queen of Wands, as I said, is here for it. She here for the knight, she here for the king, she here for the ace, you know, like it's a party to catch her on the right day. But you know, there had to be there was a divine ordinance in this connection. It's like it was playing out in the timing that it was meant to happen. It is playing out. It's unfolding exactly as it's meant to be. And this prompt, like, besides the Empress, the High Priestess to me is, you know, the most magnified feminine expression in the deck. She's somebody that's in divine alignment. She herself, you yourself, may have been abstaining from any intimate encounters, especially any casual ones. You know, maybe waiting for divine commitment, maybe even waiting for marriage, you know, itself before you engaging in anything that is intimate, you know. And there's value in that, at least to this masculine energy, you know. So he had to go and retrieve, it's like he had to get his wand upgraded. At least that's how he felt, you know. He felt like he had to make sure he was bringing the best of the best to the table, the whole shebang. He's already the emperor, for God's sakes, but he had to make sure that his passion, his purpose is pure as he sees you to be. And that is beautiful. Like, that's more than just, ooh, sexy reading to me, you know. Like, this is something so much more, you know, pronounced than, you know, than just a good time, you know, or even just a sexy time. This is like somebody that values you enough to want to give you the best that they have to offer, and that wants to support and sustain you at your best. So much so that they would be willing to sacrifice their most carnal desires, you know, to protect your purest, you know, you as in your purest prominence. You know, that's beautiful. That's freaking beautiful. Whether this is a new experience, whether this is a second time around with that Judgment card returning again in a new vibration and on a new timeline perhaps of connectivity, whether this is an existing relationship that maybe gets an insurgence, a new surge of love, you know, and passion, which is definitely in order now. It can happen that way too, where you're with someone that just is seeing you in a whole new light and really appreciating your worth and your value, maybe perhaps because they have elevated or ascended in some magnificent way. Maybe you both have been collectively working on your conscious creativity, and it's impacting the relationship to now soar to new heights of sensuality and sensationalism. This is some like next level passion right here with the Ace of Wands and the High Priestess. This is like mystical, magical sex in its purest form. But it's like, how can I explain it? It's like, it's more than just like a tantric experience, because I think that's even too primitive to express this connectivity. It's benevolent, you know. This is two people that can literally manifest from their intimate power with one another. And it doesn't even have to be in the physical. It's just the synergy that they have with one another is so sanctified. That's what it is, because their intentions for one another's pleasure and protection and prosperity and productivity and power is just so magnificent that it elevates them it elevates everything that they are connected to, everyone they're connected to, every project they endeavor together, every partnership they align with, every, you know, investment that they make. It's something that, this is when that love energy is like, if you ever hear people talk about you know, like sex magic in a sense, but not in a diabolical sense, not in a dark way. This is about two people being so holistically aligned in every way, shape, and form that they literally don't just make love, they make magic together, whether they're laying down vertically, horizontally, or not. There's just magic that is co-created and procreated even between them that is just undeniable. And it's a force with this wand, Ace of Wands card. Ace of Wands card, it's like, yeah, it's like the two become one united force, you know, that is unstoppable, because anything that's from the divine and of the divine is unstoppable, and it's infinite. There's, you know, there's no limitation to the power and impact and inspiration that this love has to offer beyond itself, beyond the two that are co-creating it. It's universal. Okay, so last card on the top, just to see. Oh my God. And this is all that love coming down. It's a lot of wand energy. It's so much passion and power. This is what happens when they make love. When this Emperor and Empress, when this Queen of Wands, dare I say King of Wands, because that's what I imply him to be after this Knight of Wands card. And then what he show up as? Oh, it's the Ace of Wands. He ain't even in his body no more. he's so out of this world that he not even in his body. He's having outer body. Wow, it's like outer body experiences when these two make love. And it's like felt universally. It makes some type of universal impact. That's what this Eight of Wands card, this is like ethereal energy and force, and whew, it just comes down, and it's nothing that can stop it, and it's nothing that can block it. It can't be diminished. It can't be minimized, you know, like it's coming in its purest form, just as it's like eight of wands. That's what this energy is giving me. It's like the 8 of wands times 8. Which is amazing, because we're still more or less in the Lionsgate portal, which makes a whole lot of sense for this reading. I am so thankful for this reading. I really am. But this is the vibration that occurs in the earth. You know, it's like the heavens rain down, not just onto them, you know, like it's not just magical for them when they make love and when they just are on one accord and one vibration, one synergy, you know, literally on the same page with one another. It's a very spiritual, ethereal, mental, psychological, but also very physical manifestation of magnificence that occurs. It's like that On the Run Part 2 song, like, I hear sirens when we make love, loud as hell, but they don't know. Nowhere near us. I will hold your heart and your gun. I don't care if they come. No. I know it's crazy, but they can take me. Now that I found the places that you take take me. Without you, I've got nothing to lose. Yes, and that's this energy here. It's a win-win situation. I ain't got no more to say. Go listen to that song. That's the end of the reading, and I'm going to post it on the community tab. That's the vibration of this love here, where it's like y'all against the world, literally, but yet y'all for the world in an even grander sense. You know, it's like your love is for the universe. It's from the universe and for the universe. It's really not a force against anyone or anything, as a matter of fact. Anything that thinks that it's set to come against it is really just defeating itself, because it's missing out on partaking of this magnificence, even if it's just an inspiration. But let alone if you actually have the opportunity to be in connection, to be a witness to this vibration. You know, this is a contagious kind of love, you know, something that you just can't help but catch if you stand within 6 feet, maybe more, maybe less. It's contagious, you know. And in that regard, I pray that you come down with a terrible cold. Let me not even say that. I take that back. With a terrific cold. A love so cold, it's too hot to hold. If that makes any sense. And it don't, but it do. And I know you know what I mean. So with that being said, thank you, Spirit, for this amazing, amazing love reading. Happy new moon to you. May all your love, dreams, hearts, wishes, and desires come true in the fullest form of that 10 of Cups frequency that we started this whole thing on. Let it be so in spirit and in truth, happily ever after. It is so, and so it is. Till next time, peace.